Hey guys, today I would like to show you my latest puzzle creation, the 7x9x11. This puzzle is made out of an MFJS Meilong 11x11, and this puzzle took me a lot longer to make than most puzzles. Right now I'm actually at the university. Well, actually all of us are currently at home for the quarter because of the current situation, but I'm now a university student, so it takes me a lot longer to get puzzles done, and this one took me about a month and a half to complete. And this one will actually be heading to its buyer soon after I'm done publishing this video. Anyways, this puzzle is actually not as big as one would think. I guess first we'll do size comparison. Here's just a standard 3x3. As you can see, it is significantly bigger than a 3x3, especially on the biggest side. But compared to some other puzzles, such as the 5x5x3, and then the 5x5x9, this puzzle is not actually too big. And that's because these puzzles, I don't actually have another 11x11 on hand, but here's a 10x10. It's close enough to the size. The MFJS has made these really great puzzles. They're a lot smaller than normal. They're pretty prone to popping, I will admit. However, they're just a lot smaller and easier to handle, so popping isn't as inherent of an issue. So compared to how big this would have been if made from, like, say, a Shapeshifter 11x11 or a Yushin 11x11, this is a lot more compact, and I think that's great. So with this puzzle, it's only available in stickerless. So I actually didn't paint the pieces because I felt like that would negatively affect the turning quality. So I just left it and I stickered the sides according to the interior. But from the outside, it's all black. All the caps are black, and it's really hard to tell that the inside is a different color just because the pieces go together pretty well, and of course the inner pieces are the same color as the outside pieces, so it gives the illusion that there's not really anything there. But anyways, now I suppose I will get into the turning quality of this puzzle. This puzzle turns just as well as the original base puzzle. It's very smooth, moves without any catches, any locking up, any of that, across every single layer. For this puzzle, I actually have it set tighter than I normally would, and I have a lot of extra lube in here to slow the puzzle down, and that's just because the base puzzle is prone to popping, and when this becomes a not jumbled, but a bandaged mess, you don't want pieces just sliding around on you when you're trying to solve it. So I tried to slow it down as much as possible, but it is still very smooth. And I suppose I'll do a checkerboard pattern. That is not a checkerboard pattern. Even though it is smaller than how it would be if I made it from a different 11x11, it is still quite difficult for me to grasp, especially behind the setup, the camera setup that I have going on. And there is a full checkerboard pattern. Of course, once again, I had stickers custom made by Chewy Stickers. He's a US-based seller, and he gets my stickers done for a really cheap cost and very quickly, especially compared to other sellers I've tried in the past, such as Oliver Stickers, who charge a lot more and take a lot longer of a time. So once again, thank you very much to Chewy Stickers for these stickers. So now you've seen a little bit of the turning quality. Of course, with this puzzle I'll do the obligatory corner cutting test. However, with something this big, corner cutting doesn't matter so much as just overall misalignment, as in how well the puzzle can handle general misalignments. Just restore it back to its original solved position state. So corner cutting, it can do just about one cubie. It can't do too much. In fact, going more than that can probably lead to a pop. Actually, it did more than that, but yeah. So if I kept going, this would probably pop out, so I wouldn't recommend that. But in terms of just overall misaligning the puzzle, like not having it straight, it'll cut through that just fine. And that is consistent with every side of this puzzle. Here, one QB. Across all layers, pretty much just one QB is where it's going to be the best. Across the inner layers, it might be a little bit of a stretch to go that far, but once again, it can cut through all that misalignment. Of course, same thing on the top and on the white and yellow faces, I should say. Let's try overall misalignment. And there we go. So yeah, in terms of catching and locking up, it turns great. Originally, when I was building this puzzle, I accidentally bent inwards one of the most inner center rings, and that caused a lot of catching on the inside, but I went ahead and disassembled the puzzle, fixed the bend that I created by sanding the piece flush, and now it turns like a dream. And of course, I don't know if I mentioned before, but this puzzle is made completely with 3D printed extensions. I went and had designed the extensions, and each extensions have this little sort of cap on the top layer. It's like 1 millimeter thick. That way that it covers up any gaps created when gluing pieces together. It'll cover that completely, which means that epoxy and other things aren't required. And 1 millimeter isn't noticeable enough to realize that these pieces are not completely cubic. And yeah, oh yeah, reverse corner cutting, I can't really do any reverse in all honesty. It can cut through it, but not very well. And with that out of the way, I suppose that I'll do a scramble of this puzzle just to show off how well it can really function under actual use. I have not actually solved an ultimate shapeshifter in a long time, so in all honesty, I don't even know if I can solve this, but we are going to try. So of course, I will start by scrambling it without shapeshifting anything. Let's see, how far do I want to take this? And of course it is finger trickable, however since it's just so big I tend not to do that, just because it's a little bit awkward with my smaller hands. Okay, let's see how much further do I want to take this. I'd say that's pretty good. So now that I've scrambled it, keeping this shape, what I'm going to do now is only turn the white and yellow faces by 90 degrees and continue turning it 180 degrees on every other face. And that will ensure that we reach the maximum level of bandaging on this puzzle, which is an ultimate shapeshifter. And real quick, I do want to mention, let's just shift up one of these pieces real quick, that this puzzle is quite fragile just because of the nature of the extensions. So I pull out this red piece. As you can see, that red piece, it doesn't stick up ridiculously far, but it's just such a small piece that's just super glued on there that it might be prone to breaking off. And of course, you can just be glued back on, no big deal. However, I do think that that is important to mention. Just be careful when handling this puzzle, more so than others, since the pieces are just a lot smaller. On something like a 3x5x7, the issue isn't as large just because the pieces are a lot bigger, there's a lot more surface area to be glued, unlike on this puzzle where there's less of that. Okay, back to scrambling it. Sorry if I go a little off camera, it's a little bit awkward. My camera set up that sometimes I need to bring the puzzle a little bit closer to me. Now I've made quite a mess. I'm actually just going to get a picture of this real quick, just for my listing, because I haven't scrambled this puzzle before. I don't have any pictures of it in any states. Let's go ahead and use you. I'll do this. And there we go. So yeah, this is now, I'd say, pretty well scrambled in this direction. Maybe just a few more turns. I don't think scrambling it will make it any more difficult than it already is for me to solve. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the full scramble. Now I will go ahead and turn each and all sides by 90 degrees, and that's when things become a really big mess. And this entire puzzle just turns into a giant shard. And of course, layers are all bandaged together. This entire layer is effectively been fused into one layer. And that is the beauty and complexity of these ultimate Shapeshifter puzzles. Alignment is still kind of important, especially when we reach these stages. And I'm probably going to stop pretty soon. This has become an absolute nightmare and a mess. It's been a while since I've even solved a 3x5x7. I don't even think I've solved the 5x7x9 yet, and this looks like an absolute disaster. I'd say that's good enough. It's probably going to take me at least a couple hours as is, and that is my demonstration of my newest 7x9x11. I'm going to go solve this and send it off to the buyer, and I will have a couple more videos released soon regarding assembling the new DIY kits that I have started offering in my Etsy shop. So I will see you guys then, and thank you so much for watching.